Hey everybody, welcome to the Coach's Corner here on 104.9 The River. However you're watching or listening, we appreciate you tuning in. We're here at the Marion County News office this week. We have
It was a long commute.
It was a long commute. It took us a while to get everything ready, but we're here. We're excited. The reason we're excited is because all of our area teams, all the teams here in the county have made the playoffs, made the state playoffs.
Yeah, which is always exciting. Obviously, Whitwell has come a long way to claw their way back in to. Not only are they in the playoffs, they're hosting their first game. So,
and they're finishing their season at 4-4, 4 wins, 4 losses, which doesn't sound great on paper, but when you look at the first 3 weeks, they're 0-3 after 3 weeks. So,
well, and they went 4 out of their last 5, so and caked on some points. I mean, they obviously found their offensive foothold, and that's a big deal for them. They really had one component to it, and they were able to grow that and start getting other people involved in the offense. Kind of had to keep defensives guessing. So you know, Chandler Britton, you can't argue. He's a cornerstone of that ground game. But Mordecai, you got Mordecai Therion, J.J. Jano, you know, there's so many of them that they've had to incorporate into their playbook just to kind of keep the game film from being too revealing to their opponents. So I'm excited for them because it's a really young team, and so they're excitable, and honestly I think that's part of what happened at Grundy County, was they had 2 good games in a row, and they went to sleep at the wheel and got beat and realized, you know what, we're going to have to keep our foot on the pedal to the metal if we're going to.
And that may be a good lesson to learn before the playoffs rather than when you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, because that's a one and done there. So,
but you got to think of some impressive wins. I mean, putting up 53 against Sale Creek, putting up 57 against Lookout Valley. Their only district loss is the game against South Pittsburg, which was a weird game for both teams after 2 weeks of not playing football.
Competition. Yeah.
So to be building this momentum towards the end of the season is definitely something that.
Well, and look, you'd like to think that you're going to be better at the end of the season than you were at the beginning, and some teams can deliver and some are still getting better. So I think they're a capable team. I think confidence is going to play a part. That fine line between arrogance and confidence. They give up a lot of weight to a lot of teams on the line, and they're going to have to figure out how to compensate for that, because the competition is arguably, it's not going to get worse. So I think Easterly at quarterback, being able to scramble, he's going to have to look for successful avenues when the pocket collapses. He's going to have to find a way to move forward. He gets out of the pocket, but there's a lot of lateral movement, and just crashing into the middle of the line, that's great when you need 2 or 3 yards, but when you're in 2nd and 12, now you're just risking getting hurt, and you're only giving yourself 3 or 4 yards, and that said, he's broken away for multiple touchdowns. He's got it in him. I get concerned, for their longevity in the postseason, that they're going to have to be more selective about where they run, because, again, getting tackled's not that big of a deal. That's part of the getting hurt. But now you're at the end of the season where you don't return,
And just kind of talking about that Grundy County loss, 12-10 to Grundy County. That's sort of the only one in the second half of the season. I'm sure that one kind of hurt them. It prevents the winning record. They're stuck at 500. But I do think this season, if you would have told me that Whitwell was 500 and that they were going to the playoffs, I wouldn't have told you were wrong. But I can't say.
I might would have.
I might would have been taken back a little bit. I would have said, you see something that maybe I don't see. But
well, at the beginning of the season, what I saw was a young team learning.
Exactly.
And now I see a little more seasoned decision making on the part of both the coaching staff and the players. Because there are some passing plays that are starting to glean some benefit. I have been mesmerized at the amount of productivity they can get on that sweep to the right. Chandler Britton can make yardage and run the exact same play over and over and over and over and over. It's like I'm 50 years old, bald and fat, and I think I could get to him. But the team knows where he's at, and he even said this after one game, because I went up to him and said, "How do you get?" He said, "Honestly, we've been playing together so long. If they know that that's the play, they're going to make me a hole." And I thought, that was a pretty mature answer for a prep school player. But just being able to recognize, the team camaraderie and the chemistry that really goes into it, it's a big deal.
That would not have been my answer. If you asked me in high school if I was making plays, I'm giving no credit to anyone else.
I'm super bad.
Well, I'll be honest with you, David. I'm the best. That's why.
That's a word I have to carry.
Yeah. But this puts Whitwell in the postseason for the 8th consecutive year. The first year under first-year head coach Rocky Stevenson.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of been something he's been. If you've watched any of our episodes with Coach Stevenson, building that winning culture and kind of building a program out at Whitwell is something that seems to be very important for him and kind of his primary goal this season. And I think you could chalk making the playoffs up as a success. The season's not over. There was to say how far they can go. Every game you take it week by week, they could.
Well, even. I think worst case scenario they end up second in the district, which means they still get to host. So they'll get to go in against a number 3 on their home turf with the confidence that they know what they're doing. And as long as you don't get to the arrogance that you deserve to win, any given day, any given team can beat any other given team.
And this is speculation. We obviously won't know the matchups until after this Friday, once the games are settled for this week. But just from what I've been hearing, just through the grapevine, you all know how it goes around here.
What?
Yeah. People are saying that their first round matchup will probably be Joe Burns.
Yeah.
Who is currently sitting at 3-5. They have a game Friday.
They lost a lot of horsepower at the last 2 years, and it's doable. But again, you go to sleep, any given team will make a fool of you.
That's right.
I think that has the potential to be a good matchup. The one thing that hurt them against Copper Basin is the same thing that Joe Burns is capable of. You get a breakaway run, you're going to have a hard time running him down. That said, hate to keep saying his name, but Chandler Britton had played a big part of the defense, for the Copper Basin game. I believe he ended up with an interception. If I'm not, I hope I'm not getting my games mixed up. But since Marion County News is the only media out there covering the game, nobody's here to debate me. So,
he might have an
he had 15 interceptions and 500 yards rushing.
But if we can be serious for a minute, I do think this is a good year for Coach Stevenson and the Whitwell Tigers. Something that they can build on when these guys are, when the juniors on this team are seniors and the sophomores are juniors, they can understand, hey, we made the playoffs last year. What's stopping us from doing it again? So, and of course, like we've said, anything can happen. Regardless of who their first round matchup is, they'll be at home. So,
and looking forward, Rocky Stevenson's there next year. That'll be a stability they haven't enjoyed for 4 seasons. So,
well, we're gonna take a quick break, pay some bills around here, and we'll be back with the Coach's Corner after this.
They're back. Western Sizzlin' is now open, offering kitchen menu items including their new grilled Atlantic salmon. Or enjoy side items like fried okra, baked potatoes, macaroni and cheese, a new salad bar, fresh baked yeast rolls, and dessert choices. At Western Sizzlin', full catering service is available, as well as parties of up to 10 per table. For their to-go customers, Western Sizzlin' is now offering delivery with dinnerdelivered.com or curbside pickup at 423-942-5777. Come on by and give Western Sizzlin' a try and enjoy their new hours. That's right, Western Sizzlin' is now open 7 days a week, 10:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. Western Sizzlin', located just off I-24 at exit 155, 1130 Tennessee Highway 28 in Jasper. Western Sizzlin', they can't wait to serve you. And don't forget, now offering delivery with dinnerdelivered.com or curbside pickup at 942-5777. Western Sizzlin'.
B&B Recycling is proud to support the Coach's Corner. Committed to providing honest and quality customer service under new ownership, Paul Blevins and crew are waiting to fulfill all your everyday and commercial scrap metal needs. For prices and hours, call 256-437-9999 or find B&B Recycling on Facebook. That's 256-437-9999 and ask about free container services for commercial accounts. Back to the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Coach's Corner. We're just sort of recapping the regular season, getting into the last week of the regular season. We talked about Whitwell, who does not have a game to play this week. Move on to South Pittsburg, who does have a game Friday against Copper Basin. One that, if they win, will give them the outright regional championship. So that's a big one for them.
Yeah. And all indicators point that South Pittsburg should be fine. Hiccup is Copper Basin has a running back, and if he can get a step on you, he moves right along. He's a big boy, and I think it's Belials. I can't remember the name, but we watched him against Whitwell, and just don't go to sleep if you're South Pittsburg.
Which South Pittsburg, they've had a bit of a rocky season. I know we were talking about Coach Rocky Stevenson. This is a different thing. And not to just beat a dead horse. Everyone knows about the coaching change, but just on the field of play, they've been plagued with injuries. It seems like they're never at full strength. Always have one or two guys out for one reason or another.
Right.
The big man, Gio Davis, is yet to see the field for the Pirates this year.
Yeah, that's too bad.
That's one that
Is he expected back at all?
I keep hearing first round of the playoffs and then maybe the next game. I mean, it's one of those things, like I was telling you earlier, you feel worse for the kid because he has a lot ahead of him.
Yeah.
If he can get on the football field, and hopefully some of these offers are still there for him so that he can go play at the next level. But you also feel bad for the team because he's a definite impact maker on the football field.
Literally and figuratively a big part of that team.
So with him not playing, and then the game against Dade County, which we can talk about, they didn't have Richard Hunter. Chris Jackson's been out for a few weeks. Jaden Mount didn't play against Oakland because of injury that happened in the Sale Creek game. So it kind of every week there seems to be somebody banged up on the sidelines.
Well, and I think it's a testimony to the team as a whole how well they've been able to perform even at the truncated roster. I think that just tells you exactly how deep they could be. I mean, if you ever play a full roster against a team, that team's gonna struggle to keep footing.
Yeah. and obviously the start and stop of the beginning of the season, they get 2 games in and they have to take 3 weeks off for COVID, and then they have that game we were talking about with Whitwell where both teams kind of had to find their footing and get used to competing again.
Yeah.
But this is a tough South Pittsburg team kind of putting it together going into playoff time. I know, the win against North Jackson was a sort of cornerstone of the season. Obviously, they dropped that one against Dade County, and that's kind of where I was talking about it being a rocky season is, they had a lot of mistakes in that game. Obviously, I talked about Richard Hunter not being out there, but penalties has hurt them throughout that game quite a bit.
They had like 9, was it 9?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was more
really?
than 9.
I know it was a bunch of them because it was almost, if I've got the right game, I think that was all close to triple-digit yardage that they gave up just in penalties. That's atypical of them, and I have a funny feeling Coach Stone probably gave them an inspirational speech behind not doing that again.
But it did, especially in the early stages of the game, they would get Dade County to a third down, third and short, third and long, whatever, but then, they'd get an offsides penalty, and it would be first down, that same kind of thing. They'd stop them on first, stop them on second, get an offsides call on third down. So if they cleaned that up, made a few less mistakes, they may be a one-loss team right now. That second loss was Oakland, the number 1 team in the state.
Well, and look, you play that kind of caliber team. I mean, we talked about it before. There's 5 or 6 that are already D1 commitments off of Oakland's team. That is a different caliber team. And when you play teams at that caliber, it does up your game. And it's a double-edged sword in my mind because you are upping your game, but then it kind of lulls you to sleep when you come back down to earth, as it were, and play a lesser team. It's like, we're up by 35 points in the first half. We can coast. You get a couple of big breakaway runs, and suddenly you're in trouble again. So I think it will help them. Obviously, there's some good teams down the way in 1A, and if they're going to, I think it'd be an awesome story. If either one of our 1A teams made state, championship game, and obviously we want them to bring the trophy, but one of those, in spite of everything that happened, the boys got on the field and performed where they needed it. I think that'd be great. But yeah, especially in the case of South Pittsburg this year, you know.
And that was the thing with Oakland. If you haven't read my game article, you should start picking up your Marion County newspaper and read the articles. Yeah.
Online at
Yes.
mcnewstn.com.
Good plug. But Coach Creasy from Oakland, before the game, I kind of asked him, what he thought about. As much as I hate to say it, this game was a foregone conclusion before it started. I mean, there were Pirates that you couldn't tell the team that.
Yeah.
Obviously, when they walked out, they were ready to, shock the world.
Take over the world, yeah.
But I asked him before the game what it meant for his team, how his team could benefit from playing in an environment like South Pittsburgh's, and he said, he loved the way that people love football around here and kind of.
They do like their sport just a little bit.
Yeah. And then after the game, Coach Creasy came over and talked to the South Pittsburgh team and just kind of, applauded them for their fight in the game and
classic.
Told them, I know you're not used to being on the other side of this mercy rule, but they still came down, put points up on the board, and I mean, I think they impressed a lot of people just with their fight in that game.
Yeah. Because Oakland's like 5A?
6A.
6A? Yeah, so that's a significant. I think you pointed out that the population of South Pittsburgh was comparable to the student population of Oakland.
And so it doesn't get much more of a difference between the two sizes of schools.
You're not just splitting hairs by then.
But thankfully for Pirate fans, the Pirates don't seem to be hanging their heads on that one, or the Dade County loss seems like it was years ago at this point. It seems everyone's moved past that. They have Copper Basin this Friday. I do have a phone charger. The past 2 weeks when I went to Sale Creek, my phone died and I had to figure out a way to get home from Sale Creek. Last week I was at Marion County versus Signal Mountain. My phone died again. I had to figure out a way to get off Signal Mountain. And I'm not the best at being an adult and taking care of things, but I have a phone charger now, and I will be able to make it back from Copper Basin. So
I just assumed you'd let it die so I couldn't get hold of you. So.
Well, I need directions. That's the biggest reason that I keep it alive. But putting together momentum at the right time, going into Copper Basin. Copper Basin sitting at 2-5 right now.
Yeah.
It should be an easy win for the Pirates.
You would think so, and like I watched Whitwell Copper Basin last week, and just like every other team under the sun, even though they're struggling, you've got 2 or 3 playmakers on there that if you go to sleep at the wheel, they will make you pay for it. And matter of fact, that's really what happened. Certainly one of Copper Basin's touchdowns, but Whitwell missed an assignment and he went around the left flank. Nobody touched him, and he just made his way.
They're not an incompetent football team. Is where you're getting at.
Yeah, and one thing that I liked was that Coach Stevenson gave credit to that in the debrief of the game before that. Was it Sale Creek? It doesn't matter. So. But he was saying, I'm glad y'all won this game, but you got to look at this team coming up. This is not one that you get to cruise on, and that would be the same advice to South Pittsburgh. Just make sure that you stay focused for the full 4 quarters. Go ahead and get the win, but you gotta stay tuned in.
And though a win here will put South Pittsburg at 3-0 in the district. It'll hand them a outright regional championship with
Because they beat Whitwell in theirs.
the head-to-head win. And we have 2 1A teams going into the state playoffs. So selfishly, I would like to be in Finley Stadium in December. So hopefully, at least I can't pick sides. I think out of fairness, I can't pick sides. But hopefully one of them will be there.
I'll tell you what, let's do. If Whitwell goes to state, then you owe me $100. If South Pittsburg goes to state, I owe you $10. How's that?
I'll take that bet. I will take that deal. We're going to take a quick commercial break here and, iron out the details on this wager we have.
On this newfound gambling fidget we have.
But when we get back, we got one more area team that's hopefully going to make a deep run in the playoffs if they can get past their opponent Friday. We'll be right back.
Harbin Automotive, located at 570 Micah Way in Scottsboro, has over 600 vehicles in stock and guarantees with Harbin's value pricing. Any customer can rest assured they're paying the lowest price anywhere in the nation on every model line that Harbin has in stock. Providing a range of new, used, and certified pre-owned vehicles, anyone at Harbin Automotive, from the knowledgeable staff of the Business Development Center to the fully staffed finance department, all Harbin employees can help customers find the price and style they're searching for, while the service department can get that new car ready to be driven from the lot or the showroom in a matter of minutes. Shopping for a new or used vehicle can be a big decision. However, that doesn't mean it can't be one that's enjoyed by everyone. Visit Harbin Automotive, 570 Micah Way in Scottsboro. Open Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. till 7 p.m. Saturday, 7:30 a.m. till 6 p.m. Call 256-259-6400 or shop online anytime at harbinautomotive.com. Make the short drive and save at Harbin Automotive, Scottsboro, Alabama.
I look to the tower for vision because someday I'll have to send him to college, and I want to be ready.
We look to the tower for strength because cash flow sometimes doesn't flow at all. You need a strong partner behind you.
My family looks to the tower for innovation.
Well, that and lollipops for the children.
Look to the tower. Tower Community Bank. A higher standard. TowerCommunityBank.com.
B&B Recycling is proud to support the Coach's Corner. Committed to providing honest and quality customer service under new ownership, Paul Blevins and crew are waiting to fulfill all your everyday and commercial scrap metal needs. For prices and hours, call 256-437-9999 or find B&B Recycling on Facebook. That's 256-437-9999 and ask about free container services for commercial accounts. Back to the show. All right, welcome back to the Coach's Corner. Before the break, I was saying we had one more team to go over. We put them last because they probably have the biggest matchup coming up Friday. It's the 8-0 Marion County Warriors versus the 8-0 Meigs County Tigers.
Yeah, and this will be for the district top spot for them. And they, we've been alluding to this for 2 or 3 weeks that this might be the case. For Marion County, obviously, they get home field advantage, which in a game like this is a big one. Because the Purple Wave may travel well, but you always like having a foot on your home field. So now I know you've talked to Coach several times, and he talks about the next game as his only concern. What is your take for the matchup?
As far as how I see the game playing out, I haven't been able to watch as much Marion County as I would have liked. I've seen them play a handful of times at this point, but their offense is to put up as many points as they do. Their offense is fairly simple. They have a big front line, and they have fast guys in the backfield, and they hand those guys the ball, and they say, make a hole up front, and then they run through that hole. And looking at Meigs, they've scored 60-plus points at least 2 times this season.
Really? Yeah.
They both have the ability to put up points, but this may be the best defense that either of them has seen up to this point.
Yeah.
So
Now that's one thing that I really admire. Marion's Riley Rogers gets a lot of noise for his offense production. He can pull down a reception. He can pull down even an interception. He can run like lightning. But the one thing, I saw a series of games. He swatted away a touchdown pass. I forgot which game it was, but how he got himself around the receiver to bat that pass away, and then he made a rundown in another game where nobody else was even close. I mean, he came from the other side of the field and ran him down from behind. I think Marion's secondary defense is probably one of the unsung heroes of their whole gambit, because you got speed, you got people out there that are lanky, that have a high vertical. It's got to be intimidating for a quarterback who's got a question mark. Okay, I got the arm to get it to the receiver, but he's right there, and I'm not feeling that.
Yeah. And, we talk about Whitwell and South Pittsburg kind of both gaining some momentum right towards the end of the season, which is a good thing for both of those teams, but it seems like Marion County has had the momentum since the Jamboree, I would say, in Finley Stadium. They didn't lose a quarter there.
Yeah.
They won both of their quarters, and they've won every game this season. So it's hard to not look at them and pick them to win. But I think it's going to be a defensive game. I mean, Marion County's defense has not given up points very much this season. They had 3 turnovers at Signal Mountain the other night. And so, while I haven't seen Meg's offense, I would say they have to have a pretty good offense if they're going to come in and put up points on Marion County. It may be who gets in the end zone first.
Well, I would tend to agree. I think both of them are going to be surprised how few points they get. And as long as they keep their eye on the fact that a W is a W, whether it's 2 or 20 or 200 points, I think composure is going to be a big deal here, because it's a hugely hyped game. There's going to be a lot of energy, and the guys are going to have to, okay, this play's over, go to the huddle, don't engage in extracurricular. That's the end of this play, because a 15-yard unsportsmanlike in this game would be a huge problem. So I just want to encourage Marion to let Megs make those mistakes.
And I know you can't compare scores. Sports doesn't work that way, but it doesn't ever stop anyone from doing it, right? And you look at Marion County, who beat Tyner 23-0.
Yeah.
Megs had a little bit of a closer game with Tyner. It was 19-18. They, barely got past them there. So I know you can't do that. It's not fair to either of those games to kind of put them in that vacuum. But
here it is. I'll put myself out there. I think halftime, I think you're going to have one touchdown, maybe a field goal even difference. And then second half, you're going to see Marion come out and really exploit what they learned in the first half. Mm-hmm.
We're not biased or anything.
Yeah.
But.
We all make some No, but, I mean, how much fun would it be to be at Finley with 2 teams,
I think.
We finally got the state game moved down here off of our long, hard work, and so we just wanted it to be more compatible for our teams here, Mary.
I, for one, would like to see playing on, I don't know how they would play on the same day, but if we could have a 1A state champion and a 2A state champion right here in Marion County,
that would be killer.
That would be pretty cool.
And they don't have those things out, so that's a real testimony to our teams.
I would say the benefit for this game, obviously you can't, if you're Marion County, go into it with any mindset of anything but winning the game, and it does help them out. It would give them home field advantage and things like that, but they could see them again, potentially. Win or loss, they could see this next team in the playoffs.
But, like you said, I wonder how much Tyner regrets making up the COVID game.
Yeah.
But no team really wants to take a COVID win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not in their heart of hearts, and especially not in the district. So I have a lot of admiration for Tyner because they did. They came out and they played, and solid team.
Another team that could end up.
I was going to say, and it may not be the last time. We'll have to see how the brackets fall, but there's a whole lot of backstory that could make for some good viewing for us. So, so Whitwell takes a break. South Pittsburg travels to Copper Basin, and Marion stays home to host Meggs in what I suspect will be the single most covered game in the history of any team of our county.
I think probably so.
This will be the first time we'll be fighting for space on the sideline. So,
but yeah, best of luck to both of those teams this week.
Absolutely.
And congrats to all three of the teams for making it into the postseason.
So we'll see.
Hopefully this time next week when you're watching the Coach's Corner, we're still
talking about all three teams.
That's what we can hope for. But until then, this has been the Coach's Corner.